Kingdom Hearts 3, a review as well as Spoilercast. So, if you have not beaten the game, if you haven't had the game spoiled for you, like I managed somehow miraculously to get to the end of the game without it being ruined for me because apparently several people looked at the leaks and game's ending was ruined.
Kyrie dies.
That's it.
Thanks for stopping by.
Hopefully you got the warning ahead of time. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the game, different aspects of it. We're going to be talking about everything Kingdom Hearts 3, basically, during this segment.
And why everyone else hates it.
Yeah, which...
For some reason.
Yeah. I didn't really research that, but...
Well, are we going to talk about
y'all
that?
Don't hate it. Why?
Yeah, we're going to talk about what...
Defend it.
Indeed, we will. Okay, so...
I don't know if I could do that.
Why not?
So, here's what I would open up with, by the way, if you disagree.
Is that Sora from Kingdom Hearts 2.9?
Yeah, it is. 2.9. I love that joke, by the way.
Yeah.
That was great. Fantastic. So, no, the game is not terrible. It's not a terrible Kingdom Hearts game. It's not a bad Kingdom Hearts game. It's not a bad video game. It's probably not my favorite Kingdom Hearts game so far, but just kind of a review as far as how we rate video games. Graphically, I was really nervous when I saw trailers for it because it seemed like we were losing something by the upgrade in the visuals as far as, you know, we're kind of losing the cartooniness of it. And I do think that shows in the Hercules level, which is the only 2D animated source material level that we got. Like, Hercules and Megara and Phil don't quite look right in Unreal Engine 4, like ultra realistic.
See, I think everyone else looks fine except for Hercules. Huh. Hercules unsettles me.
No, yeah, his proportions are not quite right, I would say.
It's just weird.
Yeah,
I don't know. Because like, I mean, like the all the gods and the titans are like, I mean, like, whatever, they're supposed to be deities. They're not supposed to look really human. Like, I don't know. I didn't really see anything a whole lot wrong with Meg. Didn't even get Danny DeVito or someone that sounded like Danny DeVito. That was the most disappointing part of the game.
Yeah, I remember seeing a report that said that the voice cast for this game is half and half. Like, it's half authentic original voice actors and then either sound-alikes or, in Phil's case, not
There's
so
some
much. Characters
that just like people acknowledge them and they like talk to them and they just look back and just smile and like, all right, fine, don't talk to me.
Yeah. So I do think visually there's a lot going on that the game does very well. We've got 4 different console versions. We've got Xbox One base, PS4 base, PS4 Pro, and Xbox One X. It seems like the game, for the most part, no matter what you get, does not run well above 1080p. Like, if you are playing on a 4K set and you've got your system set to a higher resolution, it has a very uneven frame pace, and the frame rate will drop back and forth. So if your system can go that high, set it to a lower level, especially the PS4 Pro, that you could turn the super sampling off. It runs at 60 frames per second pretty much the whole game, except there were just a couple of jitters. I don't know if you noticed this, but on the Toy Story level, whenever you would like go into a store and then like come out of a store, it's almost like the game had to like not pause, but it just kind of had like a skip to like load the rest of like the main area of the toy store. Did you ever notice anything like that?
No, I mean, I might not have noticed it. Everything kind of, the transitions, I don't know, I felt like they flowed really well.
Yeah.
like entering from area to area.
Well, and speaking of areas, like, it amazed me that you go to Twilight Town. Unfortunately, Twilight Town's not
Small. It's so
yeah,
small.
it's not as big as it used to be. You can't go into any of the alleyway sections. You can't go to the train station. You can't go to the clock tower. So you basically have the plaza. Then you have the underground tram or subway system, which has been reworked. It's not the same as it was
No,
in
it's like
previous games.
It's like a sewer tunnel.
Yeah. And then that opens up into the forest, and then it leads to the manor. But that's all one seamless area.
Yeah.
From start to finish. That's impressive.
Yeah.
And it's full of people. Like, this is the first Kingdom Hearts game where you see more than just like...
Yeah, like I think Kingdom Hearts 2 and Twilight Town, there was like a few people. This one is like...
There are people literally
populated.
everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a small town.
Yeah, like worlds that should have people in it
Have tons.
or like
Kingdom of Corona is another example.
Yeah,
You go to the castle, there's people everywhere.
yeah.
And they're talking, too.
Yeah, I mean it's gibberish, but they're there.
It's not just gibberish. I mean, it's like if you go up to people, like, people say things like, man, I'm really wanting some
no,
ice
I just
cream.
meant it's like useless information.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, they actually speak, yeah, which is cool, but it's all just, it's kind of just to have them, I don't know, not seem like they're just dolls,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Music-wise, I think this is the strongest in the series. I love both of the theme songs that Yutada Hikaru wrote for this. Yeah, they're amazing.
Ooh.
All of the music is orchestrated. For the most part, it's orchestrated, I want to say. Like the Toy Story level is You Got a Friend in Me playing a lot, but it's arranged in a way where it doesn't get repetitive.
Yeah.
And all the character themes are there. Like if you love Shion's theme, it's in here. Terra, Aqua, Ventus's themes are all done really well.
I know.
Goodness, like every song, if you love the Kingdom Hearts soundtracks and you're thinking, man, I hope this song is in there, it's in there. I love the battle music, Tension Rising in Twilight Town.
Yeah.
Like, gosh, it's just so good, and it's nice to hear. I think the 1.5 and 2.5 remix collections did redo a lot of the music with an orchestra or with orchestrated music, but I haven't played those yet. So this is, for me, it's like the first time hearing a lot of this stuff.
I haven't either. No, like, and like JRPGs, I don't know what it is about JRPGs specifically out of the RPG category. They always seem to have like
epic,
such good music to play in the background. Like there's a few that like, they're not amazing, but the majority of them are just so nice. Like even like battle themes are like enjoyable.
Yeah. And sometimes like the battle themes I didn't really appreciate until during the credits. Like they've been starting to do this. I think they started in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, but like the medley that they play during the during the credits is always like a collection of the battle music, but like done with like a full orchestra. And that's when you really start to appreciate some of the battle themes. Like they really shine through when you hear them during that ending theme. So yeah, music is amazing, and for some reason the soundtrack is like nowhere to be found.
Yep,
like,
I'm sure it'll come out eventually.
It needs sooner rather than later. I'm just like, you've got the files. Why can't you just make the CD or make it available? I think some of it is on Spotify, but not the whole thing, which is kind of a strange place to put it. But anyway,
there's a lot of people. I think now like Spotify is becoming that place to put a lot of music.
Yeah. Now there are some things about the game that I do have problems with. Like it's not a perfect game by far. So for the original Kingdom Hearts game, one of the things that I said was, well, I really like this. I really like how much Disney is in here. I would have liked a little bit more Final Fantasy stuff in here. This has almost no Final Fantasy. Like, there's not even a Heartless named after a. There's not even like a Heartless named after a Final Fantasy thing. The thing that I know, I don't know if you saw this in the toy store, but there was a display for Dissidia toys. It's in the action figure store.
I did not see that.
And they actually have like figures of like Bahamut and Ifrit as they appear in
Oh,
Dissidia.
they did mention Bahamut. It's like Rex is like...
Oh, yeah, and Vir and Rex, the game, which is like supposed to be Final Fantasy 13 Versus. I don't know if you caught that or not.
Oh, yeah.
But
or it's, actual canon. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll get to that. But that's it. And there was a reference to Cloud and Auron fighting Hercules in the past, like Hades using them.
Yeah.
And you see like statues of them, and that's it. They're very nice looking statues, I will say that.
Yeah, why wasn't that?
But that's it. Smash? There's no Cloud, there's no Sephiroth, there's no Leon, there's no Aerith, there's no Yuffie, no Tifa. There's like the little fairy versions of Final Fantasy X.
I would have thought they'd have Sid.
Yeah, there are no Final Fantasy characters in this. Now, granted, this game has a very large cast of characters. Like, you've got the Birth by Sleep cast, you've got the 358 Days Over 2 cast, you've got characters from Chain of Memories that come back that I'm really glad that they brought back. The Riku replica, and then like the replica thing is like a really important aspect of the storyline.
The ones from what's it called? The mobile one, the mobile game.
Oh, Union.
Yeah,
Union.
The characters from Union. Yeah. Which I'm still lost on. I need to do research on that to figure out how it fits into the storyline. I enjoyed the combat. I didn't like the fact that they went back to the Kingdom Hearts 2 magic system, which it basically is. Like once you learn magic, you have it, you can assign it to I like how the shortcuts work. You can actually go in between menus of shortcuts now in battle. So like you can have quick access to all of your magic. That was one of the first things I thought about as soon as I got magic was, okay, how can I hotkey that? Because one of the things I hated to do in Kingdom Hearts 1 was going to use magic because you had to like go down.
They had a hotkey menu, but you could only assign 3. So you basically had to choose what 3 spells can I hotkey.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, you can do that in the first Kingdom Hearts. They had it that early.
In my defense, I was 9.
Defense accepted.
I was not true gamer back then.
Right. So, they made it so that you can access all of it. I did find it strange that, and I was showing you a little bit of where I'm at in the game. When your spells upgrade, typically in Kingdom Hearts, you don't have access to the old versions of those spells, but in this you do. For some reason, like I still had Cura hotkeyed, and instead of Curaga, which takes the same amount. But the thing I don't like about the Kingdom Hearts 2 battle system is the cure spells take all your MP. Then it has to recharge, and then you get a full spell bar. What I miss about the original Kingdom Hearts is you attack an enemy to get MP back, and then you could equip MP Rage so that when you get hit, you also get MP as a result. My favorite system, to be honest, was Birth by Sleep and 358 over 2 days, where you had the deck system where each ability has a cooldown, not your entire MP bar. That's not to say that magic is much better this time around than it was in 2. For instance, the fire spell. The fire spell was stupid in 2. He just surrounded himself with like a ring of fire.
Yeah.
And now you can actually not only combo it, but you can do finishers just like you could do that.
That's one of my favorite parts about this game was using magic.
Yeah, it actually makes Magic fun. Like, I usually don't use Magic at all except Cure in Kingdom Hearts, but it's fun to use.
Yeah, and I like the MP system. I like it because it makes it to where I don't have to worry about having enough mana
To heal?
for Cure, because it's always gonna.
That's true.
It's just gonna take the rest of it. So if I just go blank and just fire off like as much magic as I want, and then switch to a physical Keyblade and just start beating goons around, and like if I get low, swap back to a magic based Keyblade, and then I got like a tiny little bit of mana, and I get my HP bar back.
That's the other thing.
And I'm good to go, and it's just on a cooldown. And like the only parts I ever got to like a tough spot was the end.
And you also played on Proud mode.
I did. I played on Proud mode. I'm a proud boy.
I played on Standard and I never came close to dying.
Basic gamer.
I also didn't die. So
I'm proud.
I forgot about that.
Which one of us played Dark Souls?
Point taken.
I was born in the masochism. I was born in the pain.
Molded by it.
Yeah.
Nathan gets something to say.
I got that reference. Like Captain America.
You did say something.
Amazing.
I didn't see the light till I was a man. Yeah.
No, till I was a boy.
No,
He'll leave it there.
He was a baby, and then
No, he ages backwards.
Benjamin Button. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Armpit. Anyway, so I forgot that you can equip up to 3 Keyblades at a time and swap between them. So if you do want to have,
nice.
yeah, I didn't really do that because I just I'm a very easy gamer to please. Like, I don't use everything in a game to my advantage. I'm just kind of like, just give me melee and I will just attack.
Oh, if it's enjoyable or it improves like the experience, I'm down for it. I'll use it all the time. If it doesn't really help me, or if it's something that's like I can live without it, I don't mind. I'm not gonna hate it, but I probably won't use it. I loved being able to switch because it allowed me to. The physical Keyblades, I feel like were like the ones that were just the most fun.
And OP'd.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially when you start upgrading them, they just.
Yeah, which I didn't even really.
I
never upgraded, actually.
You didn't upgrade any of your Keyblades?
I didn't upgrade any Keyblade.
Oh, I would keep up. And actually, I was actually getting upset because I was upgrading. Like, I would get a new one, and I'd be like, oh, I gotta upgrade it. One thing I did like is that the further you go, they do kind of stay upgraded to, like, kind of a decent point to where your Keyblades are at. So you don't have to, like, start from, like, level 1 on a Keyblade. Which is, I thought that was nice.
Yeah, they've got like certain levels unlocked already.
Yeah, because there is some material to upgrade them. There's like, it's not hard once you figure out where it is. It's just tedious.
Material gets dropped all the time, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it was about previous Kingdom Hearts that just made it seem like, material drops were so rare, but they were. And now it's like, it just drops all the time.
Yeah. But you got to grind for it.
Yeah.
Which is
one thing I was really nervous about when it came to, because Birth by Sleep was like my favorite combat system. I was really worried about if they were gonna bring the forms back and if they were gonna do the forms justice. And the forms are incredible in this game. Each Keyblade, you get to do, you get a different form, and your Keyblade basically transforms along with you. You'll get a giant hammer some of the time. Sometimes you'll get yo-yos. Sometimes you'll get blasters that kind of feel like the wisdom form of Sora in Kingdom Hearts 2. And you just, as soon as you get one of these Keyblades, you just feel super overpowered in the game. And
there really wasn't one that I didn't not enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the one Keyblade I never used just because there was one that I felt it was like the exact same, was the Keyblade you get from the Winnie the Pooh world. I just never used it because it's basically just a weaker form of the was it Wishing Star?
I
The
think
Keyblade you get from Twilight Town.
yes, but I thought that the honey one was stronger. I actually used that one over the. I know which one you're talking about, but
Yeah. Well, I upgraded that one.
okay.
Because I liked it. Also, it's like that was one thing that I really liked was the different form changes with Keyblades. Because in Kingdom Hearts 2, it was always like it was the same form. It was like you had Form 2, then Form 3, then Form
Which
4.
was cool.
Yeah,
I loved
like,
I loved Valor form.
Yeah.
Wisdom form was good if you wanted to use magic a lot, but it really made magic fun. But
Yeah, it also made you a little bit more like mobile.
yeah, well, yeah, and then you had those, and that was actually tied to your abilities, like the double jumps, the gliding, high jumps. All that was tied to your forms leveling up, which that's I think why that game didn't have such a huge emphasis on platforming, because they couldn't really rely on you leveling up your forms to progress through the game. But I really was thinking like, man, it's going to be tough to top Final Form, because Final Form just makes you feel like okay, I've earned this, because that's actually one of the hardest things to get, I think, in that game is Final Form. You have to like use the summon so many times. You've got to like level up all of your other dry forms. You also lose Donald and Goofy, or for Valor form you lose Goofy. For Wisdom form you lose Donald. Master form and Final form you lose both of them. That doesn't happen this time around. And you don't have. You also don't have to pick and choose who's going to be in your party.
Yeah,
in each world.
Oh my gosh, that was so annoying.
Yes. Especially in the first game with the Trinity markers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, couldn't you just done it before?
Well,
I feel like
I get it's kind of like the RPG thing. Like the system can handle 3 main characters, and
I mean, yeah, but it's not like they added a whole lot. Like it was usually like one more character. It's like, really, I can't have 4. Like every RPG from like the 70s has had 4 characters.
A guest character, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I can't have all 4 of them out, and like some of them have like multiple characters. Like
Toy Story, Woody and Buzz.
Woody, Buzz, Big Hero 6 had all of them. I don't know if they were all around you at the same time, because you kind of like interacted.
It was
with
mostly
them individually.
Baymax.
Yeah. But yeah, that was.
I loved that. That to me was fantastic.
Yeah, I feel like this is probably one of my favorite combats, and I loved how some of the magic was interactive. Like you found out that when, using Blizzard, you could actually ride the frost trails from Blizzard, which is
just found that out
really
today.
Cool. Yeah, it's a really cool, just small thing that you can miss if you don't even try. And it's not like I wasn't looking for it. I didn't know. I accidentally did it. And I was like, oh, and I rode it the whole way.
You don't have to. You don't even have to use MP to use like the team up attacks. They just kind of happen.
Yeah, it's just like you just beat on people long enough and just
there's some kind of invisible meter that builds up.
Yeah. And well, I think if you do more magic, you get more like
more for
flare
Donald.
and meteor, and if you do more physical, you get more like guard and goofy bomb.
But I don't know. I kind of felt like because I was mostly melee, and I felt like I got more. In fact, at the end of the game, when it tells you which one which command you use the most, it told me I used flare the most.
Maybe it has to do with the one you're around, because if you're attacking with a character around, you'll combo into like a move.
It's a finisher.
With like one of the combos, I ended up doing. I noticed that at the end of it, I was doing like a flare vortex or a fire. It was vortex
called Unison Fire.
Yeah, which was super cool, and like the same thing with Goofy. And it's just like little stuff like that. It's like it's just a small little ability that you can just like click on, and you don't have to do anything extra for it. It just kind of happens on its own.
Right.
And it's nice. And that's another thing that people, like, I noticed a lot of people complain about, or, like, it's just an easy jab. It's like, oh, Kingdom Hearts is the game where you hit X. But it's fun.
Yeah.
Like,
not every game has to be Dark Souls. Not every game has to be Devil May Cry 3.
Well, and another thing is, like, most shooters is just holding down the right trigger.
Right. If you really want to get into specifics here.
Yeah, that's your action move. Is like you move around, you hold the R button, and you play the game. Like, that's an FPS game.
Yeah. Or Zelda. You want to win combat? Mash B.
Yeah. There are some games that's just like, it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to have like a combo list of like 50 commands you have to do in order to do the ultimate Sora smash technique passed down through generations. It's just, I just want to have fun. Like, you've got a bunch of little like enemies running around. It's like, I don't want to have to do complicated combat to fight all these little guys. I can lock onto them, kill them, go to the next one, lock on, go for it. Or if I want to do big area effect stuff, I can just be good at the game and get the fun content. Yeah. And the form changes were also really cool. And like, some of them had 2, some of them had 1.
I preferred the ones that had 2.
Well, because it just gave you more to have fun with, and it also extended the form change. Like, well, one of my favorite keyblades was
that's how Birth by Sleep was, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, you would unlock 1, and then sometimes that would unlock, like, your best ones that you unlock toward the end of the game would be that second form that you would reach.
Yeah. And like, one of my favorite keyblades is the Nano keyblade you get from the Big Hero 6 world, but it only has 1 form change. But it takes like a few things from like a different of the 4 or a different of like other keyblades, and it kind of puts them into one. And it's just and I also like the finisher. The finisher for it I like a lot.
And then one of my favorites was the Pirates of the Caribbean 1, Wheel of Fate.
Yeah, that was a good
which
one.
You get the first form change is like Halberd Sora, and then the second one was, I think, just a staff, but with a really cool red flag. Yeah.
And that's another. It's like the animation on that was
gorgeous,
so fluid, and just like, there wasn't a keyblade that I didn't enjoy. Like I played with all of them that I got.
Oh, when you actually freeze enemies in this one, like when Donald casts Blizzard, like it actually freezes Heartless. When someone does like a really big like fire attack, the whole environment like gets charred and it stays there for a little while.
Yeah, like grand magic fire spell.
Yeah. The snow in Arendelle was great. Like, anything that moves that actually presses down snow, it stays there.
Yeah. I like the spells in water. They change. Like like using arrow underwater will make like a vortex.
Yeah.
Using
blizzard. And you have underwater combat again, which I thought there's no way we were ever going to see, because I'm like, well, we're not going back to, whatever the Little Mermaid level was called in previous ones, but we're not going back to that, so there's no way we're going to do underwater combat. And then here's Pirates of the Caribbean, where you can go underwater literally at any time that you want to and fight. It is a bit simplified, though.
I both like that I don't have to worry about air, like I don't have to micromanage that, and at the same time, it's like, you could have added a level of difficulty with that, but
like maybe have some like air pockets that you have to go and get.
Like in Super Mario 64.
Yeah,
you got like little bubble things just popping up. You just swim over it,
and you can just talk underwater. But then again, we are talking about Square Enix, who also made Blitzball for Final Fantasy X, which makes no sense. Also,
I don't know what that is.
It's underwater soccer football.
Oh, that sounds awful.
It's actually a very fun game, but yeah, there's that. So kind of getting into more of the things, like we really like this game, but at the same time there are some downsides. A lot of the different worlds that you go to are unbalanced. I will say that the Tangled level and the Frozen level, I wish all of them were like that, as far as how big the level itself is and how long it takes to beat it. I feel like that was the perfect length to do. Toy Story was also very good, although Toy Story kind of just...
It was a hub. It's like a hub, and you just like go to different rooms.
But at the same time, it's such a big hub.
Yeah.
Like, I have a hard time feeling, like kind of saying like, well, it was just 2 areas. Yeah, but those 2 areas... minus, well, the first area was just there to like be like, this is Andy's room. Yeah. This is outside of Andy's house. Like, this is incredible looking.
It makes you feel like a toy. You're a toy.
Yeah.
This is the real world. Everything is huge. Another thing with the toy store is like, yeah, everything is like really big and it takes a long time to get to places. If you get in the robot, it's super easy to get from place to place.
That there were different robots with different specialties and
yeah,
that was so good.
Like the Toy Story world was one of the worlds I was looking forward to the most, and it's
like pretty much the first one you go to.
Best. It was one of my favorite, if not my favorite, worlds to go to.
That doll boss I thought it was creepy and like a really it was impressive how creepy they made it.
It was also annoying. I hate when you have to. I don't know. There were that in the UFO.
Because there's a bunch of minor enemies around it too.
Not just it isn't the minor. I don't care about the minor enemies. I hate when a boss just most of the time in the combat is just flying around you, and it's like they just come and like hit you, and it's like, I want you to stay in one place long enough for me to kill you. Can you work with me? Can you just sit there and let me beat on you, and then you can do whatever you want? But it's like you hit him once, and then it's like, oh, gotta go away. Oh, by the way, here's a bunch of goons. It's like, okay, fine, and I'll get rid of the goons to fight you. I'm back.
You need to use your air slide more. Square in the air.
No, I mean, like I had that. It just, I don't know. I don't like it when the enemy runs away from me. I don't like it when they run away from me and then they fly by to hit me once and then they run away again. It's like, if you're going to run away from me, do it to do something that I should be worried about. Like charge up some special move or do something. Don't make me waste time hunting you down because you're a baby.
And then also like the Hercules level was huge. Like
that was a lot.
I'm kind of I missed the Coliseum just because we had it in 1 and 2, but there's no Coliseum.
I'm so happy that it's not. If they had really put the Coliseum in a third time, I actually would have had a problem with that world.
Oh, I love the Coliseum.
It would have been. That's the one world that's been repeated more times out of any other world.
Right, but the Coliseum's always fun. Like doing 50 levels of fighting.
Like, and that's fine. Like that's just a fun like post game thing to do.
It's really fun,
but that's the whole world.
No, and I'm not. Well, they expanded it out a little bit in 2 because you had the underworld along with the Coliseum.
Yeah.
And I'm saying they could have done that this time too, where you had like the big, like, you know, you're in Thebes and then you scale Mount Olympus and then you go into the realm of the gods. Like, have all that, but then have the Coliseum over here because you've done it in the other 2.
I guess end game content, you know, like having like a light rail to like go to the Coliseum, that would have been cool. But they would have had to give and fill a voice.
Or not.
But then there's just no point in the Coliseum. I'm sorry. If he's not going to tell me what to do or hype me up, then I'm not going to fight.
I guess he did have a voice in the second one.
Yeah.
That was a huge level, and since that's like literally the first world you go to, I was like, wow, so these levels are going to be huge and long and just like really take up. And I was also wondering, like, are they going to do the Kingdom Hearts 2 things where you have to go back to each world at least twice to beat it? But they didn't end up doing that. A couple of the levels that I had problems pacing wise was Monstropolis. I felt was just great music, and I love the fact that you fight unversed the whole time that you're there, and that just seemed to be the theme. Like some of the times it was a heartless and nobody mix, but if there was like a specific nobody that you encountered in that world, you would mostly fight nobodies.
Yeah, like the Kingdom of Corona. I think. Well, no, that wasn't mostly nobodies. That just had.
It was a mixture.
Yeah.
And I guess that was kind of just the case because the same thing with Larxene and Arendelle. But yeah, Monstropolis, since there's Vanitas that you encounter, and I like how in each world you encounter a different member of Organization 13. So that was Vanitas, who's the source of the Unverse, so it made sense that you fought Unverse the whole time you were there, but that level was just so grindy and just like, it was so... It wasn't just battle heavy, it was just like some of the environmental hazards were just annoying to deal with, like the lasers on the conveyor belts, which don't really do much damage to you. They're just a nuisance to deal with the whole time.
I actually didn't have a problem with that at all. I went through that really quick. And I just jumped through everything.
You can do that, but I don't know. I try to do things the way that the game wants me to kind of see what the game developers, like what was their idea. And I just thought after I did that, I was like, wow, that was not that great, guys.
That's also...
and it's such a long level, and like there's hardly any cutscenes or really like a lot of story stuff that happens until like the very end.
Yeah.
And another level that had bad pacing issues was Big Hero 6, where you had a garage, then a fairly big city.
Yeah,
Heaven forbid we go back to the bridge.
That was
the level starts with.
That was the one world I was looking forward to the most.
Were you let down by it?
I was, because Big Hero 6 is one of my favorite animated movies to come out in like the past 10 years. And I just like I liked fighting around and like going around with them. Like that was fun. Also, I really liked the boss fights in that one.
Specifically Big Hero 6?
Yeah. Yeah, the Big Hero 6 boss, like I like fighting like giant T-Rex
and flying on Baymax.
Yeah, that was
fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fighting evil Baymax.
Yeah, which came back for. I'm actually glad that I watched Big Hero. Like, I didn't like the movie, I think, as much as you did, but I liked how they incorporated it, and this was like a sequel to the first movie. So
and that's another thing I liked about certain worlds is I liked the ones where it wasn't just the movie,
a retelling.
Yeah, like the city of, or the Kingdom of Corona. I agree with you in that world is great. Like it's long, it's like your environments are really different, and that makes the combat a little bit more different. We didn't really talk about it during the combat, but I like the flow motion, and I feel like the flow motion and I think Ariandel is a little bit better in that one, because in Corona space is a little bit more open.
Mm-hmm.
But I still like it a lot. But I hate them as far as plot.
Well, here's my question for you, because when you go back to Kingdom of Corona, Rapunzel's not in your party because her hair's been cut.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Right.
So would you have preferred it to take place after the movie? Because if it had, you would kind of lose the whole point of Tangled.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I understand that. It's just, I don't know, there was something more enjoyable about, like, in the Toy Story world, it's actually not
an original
their world.
Story.
It's a duplicate that Xehanort makes, he's running like tests on the toys to see why they're able to like move and why they have hearts,
which works into the Pixar theory really well.
Yeah, which is and it's cool because it's like, as far as Kingdom Hearts goes, it makes sense. I'm not saying it makes sense from a logical standpoint or why it has to be that way at all. It can't just be, the actual world, or like, is it like a magic other world, or is it like, is this a digital world? So they don't go into that, and it's a little like,
right.
I'm assuming magic.
So the development team, their whole approach to how the Kingdom Hearts characters interact with those worlds, they act as though canonically they showed up. It doesn't work because it does retell, like with Frozen and Tangled, like it's a retelling of the movie themselves, and they're kind of crashing the party. But it works with like Toy Story because they actually said this takes place between Toy Story 2 and 3 is when this storyline would take place.
Gotcha. Well, and it just makes it more enjoyable because it's just a unique, like, I like the unique worlds the Kingdom Hearts offers. Because it's just nice to see that, like, there's other worlds other than just Disney, and I don't think they haven't had a Final Fantasy world before, but it's just cool to see that, there's like another history part of like why worlds are separated, and there are other like real people living in like actual like real people worlds. It's not just like a bunch of animated characters.
We'll see, and I think I would have enjoyed the Monsters Inc. level a lot better if it had been a retelling of the movie, because it was just a boring world otherwise, because nothing happens in it. They're just trying to get Boo home. That's the plot of the Monsters Inc. world.
Yeah. But at the same time, I don't really mind.
I feel it would have been better if like they learned like, oh well, it would be better if we made them laugh instead of having them get scared and like having them go through that whole revelation. Like that I think would have been a lot better than just like, here's the somewhat bad guy from the movie and we're trying to get Boo back and the anniversary here, which is kind of how it was. I don't know. But then I feel like it worked for Big Hero 6 with it being a sequel of sorts.
Yeah. They just didn't handle the world all that well. The story in that world I liked. Cuz that was another thing I was worried about that world, is like I don't really want to start from the very beginning of that world. So if we could just go after, and they actually did, I was like, "Oh my gosh. That's awesome." But I hated having to go back to the garage and then having to go to the city. It's like, can I just...
And it was just a mission after mission after mission.
Yeah, it's like...
and it was short.
His home isn't that far away from the city. You could have just as easily made it to where, like, you just go out the garage door, go down the street, and then, bam, city.
Yeah. I did like all the characters. Their writing was spot on. It's like, yep, that's how they are in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we talk about the Pirates world for a little bit? I love how the Pirates level was... they skipped Dead Man's Chest, because in Kingdom Hearts 2, it tells the story of the original Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Because that's when it came out.
Right, it came out right around that time.
Insane.
Yeah, that they got... Because it was like a year later.
Yeah.
This one they did at World's End, which I feel worked really well. And they get you caught up on the events of Dead Man's Chest. But I feel like that was because you had the really cool visual of the ship going through the locker and like the desert like locker carried on crabs. They incorporated crabs into it, which is kind of like a level up system for the ship that you got. Did you level up the Leviathan?
Yeah.
All the way?
That was another Final Fantasy reference.
Yes, that was. I didn't like the arrows on the side that you used to board ships, but whatever. But did you level it up all the way to 9?
I didn't go all the way to 9.
If you do, you unlock the Pearl.
Oh.
Which is... So the difference between the two ships is the Pearl's not as defense-wise as good. Stronger cannons, but not as many cannons, so you can't shoot directly in front of you. And it's much faster. So as soon as I unlock the Pearl, I just use the Pearl. Plus, there's additional dialogue. That's the other thing. Like, if you go back to those worlds, like, there's interaction dialogue amongst the characters that's really good. The Pirates of the Caribbean world looks so good.
Yeah.
Some of the characters are a little off just by a tad. Jack is not one of those characters. I think Jack is, like, fairly spot on. But I was talking to someone on Twitter where they were like, yeah, it looks really good. I said, yeah, it looks really good, but a lot of the cutscenes where there's a lot of characters just standing there, they look really good, but they're just standing there, and I'm just kind of like, this looks like an Uncharted game that didn't load correctly. It's just like, they look so good that it looks weird that they're standing there with a solitary expression on their face.
Yeah. That's
not animating. Jack, they did like the twitching in his face really, really well. I think that is probably one of the best showcases for Unreal Engine 4, because there's a lot of this, I forget what it's called. It's like called subsurface light scattering, where basically if you can see it in some levels, like if you have a light source above Sora, like you can see it coming through the edges of his hair. And along with other characters that have hair kind of poking out. But like if someone's nose is like in front of a light source, like you can see the light coming through their nose, like just really cool effects like that you don't see a lot, but it works really good when you have the Pirates level, which has really strong light sources, basically being the sun.
Yeah.
That and it's a little Assassin's Creed 4.
It reminded me very much of Assassin's Creed 4. And that world is a interesting combination because it had the movie. It was the movie going on
At World's End, yeah.
and
they jump around.
But I liked that they just kind of gave you like a clone Jack made of crabs. Because the story that you were actually interacting with was a unique story all on its own. Like you got to do your own stuff, and you also got to have.
But they used something from the movie, which was kind of like a throwaway in the movie, where there's multiple Jacks. You've seen that World's End, right? The third Pirates movie. You know the part where there's a whole bunch of Jacks running around when he's in the locker. Well, one of them actually helps you. And it's just made out of crabs.
Yeah, like if they just did something like that in like the rest of them, or like a few of the worlds, I would have been completely fine with that.
You have to put Olaf back together in Arendelle. That didn't happen in the movie.
I could not leave until I put Olaf back together, and I tried.
I think I got all of the wrong pieces for his torso before I found the right one.
I couldn't find his head. And he wouldn't shut up. I'm not joking. If you go onto my computer, you will find in Google the search history box of how to skip the Frozen world. I wanted to skip that world. I would
You can't skip worlds in Kingdom Hearts.
Not yet. Not yet. Someone will. I didn't want to go to that world so bad. Like, if I could have just picked up the Keyblade and skipped that world entirely, I would have done it.
The Keyblade you get from there is one of the best.
Yeah, it's super cool. And it's one of the few blades, or one of the few Keyblades that's actually a blade looking.
Yeah.
Icicle,
big icicle.
I hate that world. I hate that world so much. And it might stem from the fact that I hate that movie with a fiery passion. And the fact that world just plays out the same as the movie also hurts. I like the boss fight. Boss fight was cool.
I liked how Marshmallow becomes your party member.
I didn't even know that thing had a name.
It does in the menu.
No, that's how I found out that canonically in the movie, I guess it had a name.
It does have a name.
What is
My
it?
wife informed me.
Marshmallow.
Yes,
What's that?
the giant
abominable
snowman that Elsa makes.
Oh, okay.
Its name is Marshmallow.
I didn't know that until I played the game, and it's like, oh, Marshmallow joined your party. I was like, that.
And his unison attack is actually pretty cool.
It's cool. I don't care.
There's no pleasing him. He just hates Frozen.
No, I hate. And then they actually put just a Let It Go music video in the middle.
To be fair, they did that a little bit with Tangled, though. They pulled a lot out of it. I feel like the Tangled level did more to it just ripped more from the movie than Frozen did.
It did, but I liked Tangled. Because Tangled actually had...
There's no accounting for taste, Matt.
No, there is, because Tangled actually had a decent story and plot. Frozen, there's a lot of people that like to explain why Frozen's a good movie, and the way they explain it is wrong. I'm not going to go about arguing that unless you really want me to.
No, we're here to talk about Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, that movie's garbage.
So, the next thing I'd like to move on to, let's talk about the point of the story that made me stop loving it. When Kairi gets murdered, I feel like that only made, I think, me and everyone else just upset, and it didn't make any sense. It was done very quickly, unceremoniously. At first I thought that was a fake version of Kairi because
that's what I thought. Like, I had no emotional attachment to that scene because it's like, I mean, he's just doing it so he'll get a reaction out of Sora, and it's like,
well, it was actually to create the 13th key that he needed.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize that's why he needed. What was actually happening there?
I thought he was trying to use Sora to make it, so I thought it was just like a fake key. So I was like, oh no, this is just happening because he wants Sora. And it's like, oh no, he really did kill her.
But
I have to go through all those worlds again. I thought we were gonna have to do more backtracking.
No. But to me, and after seeing, because I love the story as far as like Birth by Sleep ends on a note where all the characters are in horrible positions, like everyone's in a really bad place, and this solves all of that. 358 days over 2. All the characters are in terrible positions. This resolves all of that. I loved the chain. Did you catch the thing with the Riku replicant from Chain of Memories and his story arc and how it was completed perfectly here?
Yeah.
How all he wanted to do in Chain of Memories was help Naminé, and he did it.
Yeah.
And he did it by sacrificing his chance of becoming real. Oh, when there's a point in that when the game just pauses when Riku is talking to his replicant. There are so many times when I got misty-eyed playing this game, and this was definitely one of them, where he's talking to his replicant. I think he gets like the replicant body that's like just a blank replicant body, and Riku just assumes he's going to use it to become real. And he's like, no, it's going to be for Naminé. And it's like, there's no... I think that's how it goes. I'm paraphrasing. But there's no dialogue between them, and they just look at each other. And then like it just clicked in my head. I'm like, that's all he wanted to do in Chain of Memories. It was like a fight between him and Sora as who was going to protect Naminé because of the false memory she had planted in there. I was just like, oh my goodness. If people aren't realizing this, they're missing out on a huge chunk. But I'm glad that they didn't like slam you upside the head with it. Like, this is what he's doing. Like, they just kind of leave it as like a... it's kind of like that moment in Final Fantasy VIII where you may not realize that Laguna is Squall's father, but he is. They never tell you it. They just kind of... I don't know if you ever played Final Fantasy VIII, but just kind of... I didn't really spoil it for you because it's not something that they ever tell you directly.
Also, the game is like 20 years old. If I truly cared, I would have played it by now.
True. But it's like there's enough there to realize, oh, yeah, gosh, that's his father. I love when games do that. I love when games have something very profound, and if you're not paying attention or you haven't been paying attention, you're going to miss. It just hits me in a way that I'm just like, oh my goodness, this... There are so many times when I was just like, I just shook my head. I was like, this game, man.
And that didn't click with me at first because I was like, oh, he's going to let Sora put Roxas in there. Because I thought the one that they had
brought... Yeah, Ienzo was working on that one.
And I thought Ienzo was working on making one for Naminé. I was like, oh, they've got one set aside. They can worry about Naminé later because she's not really combat oriented. It's like they're in the, this is the fight. It would make sense for Roxas. It's like, no, hold your horses, buddy. We'll get to that part in just a second. Ooh, that was a part I got to when Roxas came back. And okay, no, Shion
and
having to fight against Axel, and then Axel
and then Sora
couldn't,
and then Sora just tells her you can stop, and like I was like, oh my goodness, it's so like. I wish you could be there with us right now, Nathan.
Like I just want to give you a hug.
The feels of this game,
well, especially because of like what she did. Just her whole existence is sad,
right?
And it makes it even more sad that she sacrificed herself to make Roxas stronger.
How they kind of both had to sacrifice themselves for Sora to wake up.
Yeah, but she decided to go first so that Roxas could keep going. And then but she knew that he wouldn't do it willingly, so she had to make it seem like she was an enemy. And that boss fight.
You're talking about 358 over 2?
Yeah, that one can go bite on a bullet. Hate that boss fight.
At the very end?
Yeah.
The battle theme is awesome.
The battle theme is awesome. I will agree. I just hate the fight. Not because I think it's bad. It just really annoyed me. Again, that was like 12 or 13. Bad gamer.
Don't hate the game, hate the player.
Yeah. But that trio reuniting the whole game completely fine.
Right.
That moment, I was like, don't you do it.
And it looks like we're probably shipping Riku and Namine, which I didn't see coming.
Yeah, that was a little weird. Also, back when his Keyblade broke the first time that they were in the
Realm of Darkness.
World, when he said that I'll leave it for the other me, I was like, what? Wait, what? And then when
the replicant.
Yeah, then when he popped out and he helped Riku, he had his Keyblade.
Can we talk for a moment about when Aqua comes back? And...
Oh, okay. No, that was another one. I was like,
oh my goodness. Gabe, you are breaking my heart right now.
Yeah.
When they're... So yeah, they rescue Aqua, and Aqua doesn't know that she's been rescued. Like, they're in the Destiny Islands, and she's looking around, and she's surrounded by Mickey and Riku and Sora, and she said, "But when did they fall to darkness?" And Riku just smiles and is just like, "You're in the realm of light," and they just are just like, "You're home," and she's crying. They do crying really well in this game, by the way. Like, people's eyes get red, like they do in real life.
Yeah.
That moment got me. The moment when Ventus wakes up wasn't super emotional. I just liked. I anytime Vanitas gets his butt handed to him, I love it. And I love how Haley Joel Osment voiced him better this time than in Birth by Sleep, even though I thought I did a really good job in Birth by Sleep, playing like this semi-maniacal character.
Yeah.
Done really well. I loved the moments that, even though it kind of didn't make sense, when you're fighting the different members of Organization 13 in the Keyblade Graveyard, when you defeat one of them, like, you get like a little ending talk with them, even though it's in the middle of a fight if you're still haven't beat the other one, but who cares about that? I loved all of that stuff. I loved how some of them actually like leave Sora on friendly terms.
Was it Demix?
Demix, yeah.
Demix, yeah.
Wasn't Demix the one with the
cards.
Water?
No, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Demix.
What is his name?
I'm gonna have to look it up.
The blonde,
sorry, that was a conversation we were having earlier.
Blonde guy from Pirates of the Caribbean level.
Yeah. That was another guy that I was kind of... You don't really know where he comes from.
Or where he goes.
Like, Marluxia, I know where he's from. Because he's from the mobile game.
Yeah, apparently.
Him and Ventus were both there when the Master of Master's Apprentice and the... Dandelions
and all that.
Like, Ventus was a dandelion.
I need to get caught up. I'm so lost.
Yeah, I don't know where Marluxia's somebody comes into play there. I just know that he was a part of that. And I think... I forgot her name. Lightning Knife Girl, whatever.
Oh, Larxene,
yeah. I don't know where she comes from either.
But she hints at there being some kind of relationship that she has with someone. And
Demix is he's just the dude with the water scimitar.
And he's got the shaved hair.
Not scimitar.
Sitar.
So,
getting back to how all these characters have really happy endings, really satisfying conclusions, except for Sora, who has sacrificed a lot. Like, he has carried how many people's hearts in his being at this point? He's like just been cheerful this whole time, and for him to lose Kairi, which I think you had told me that you don't really care for Kairi as a character. No. I liked her. I thought that she was
cut out.
She was an interesting character in the first Kingdom Hearts. She got more interesting in the second one, and then they gave her a Keyblade, and I was kind of like, really? Everyone gets a Keyblade. If Kairi gets a Keyblade, everyone gets a Keyblade, and that's kind of what they did, except for Donald and Goofy. Come on, it's time. Hashtag Donald needs a Keyblade. Goofy needs a Keyblade.
Can we talk about the moment where Donald used such powerful magic it killed himself?
It didn't kill him.
He died.
No, he didn't die.
He did die.
He was just wiped out at that point.
No, he died.
I don't think
his body disappeared after he used it.
Zetaflor?
Yeah.
We'll have to go back and watch that, but because
I'm like 90% sure that he used that and he just died.
Yeah, when he did that, I audibly called out, "Get him, Donald."
I don't know. I don't like Donald.
I like Donald.
Useless character.
So, yeah, that was another part about the endings. Like, there's a lot of like false like game overs or false. Oh, everyone died. Like that happens about 3 different times. When you think, oh, this is how like or Xehanort 1 or whatever happens 3 different times. Misused a little bit at that point. Just you can only fake us out so many times. I knew that they were going to tie like here this is where the future of the franchise is going to go. Here's a teaser for the next game. I'm okay with that. I just don't like that they dragged Sora into it. Like this was supposed to I thought this was supposed to be Sora's last game as the protagonist.
From what I heard, it was just supposed to be the last game in the Xehanort saga.
That is also true, but I heard that Sora's story was coming to an end in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Nope.
So we get the ending where everyone's happy. Sora apparently goes on a journey to go save Kairi. Then we see Kairi in the Destiny Islands, apparently. It looks like she's sitting next to Sora. Tear rolls down her eyes. He disappears, so he wasn't really there to begin with. And then the super secret movie is Sora and Riku being in the world of Virum Rex, which apparently is the same world as The World Ends With You.
Potentially.
The Master of Masters, it looks like he's there also, which is probably what the next game is going to be about. The only thing is like Kingdom Hearts 3 took so long, and it took so long coming here, and I'm not even talking about the distance between 2 and 3, how long it's been. I'm talking about since the last Kingdom Hearts game, Dream Drop Distance, that came out in 2012. It has been 7 years since we got a full normal Kingdom Hearts game. So for it to end like this, where it's an even less satisfying ending than 2, I'm a little peeved about that, because it's been, like I said, 7 years since a Kingdom Hearts game. How much longer are we going to have to wait for the next one? And I'm losing a little bit of patience. Like, love the story, how it tied up a lot of loose ends, but by making Sora and Kairi's relationship be the loose end to like keep me interested, I feel a little bit betrayed, to be honest. I really do. I don't hate the game as a result. I think that's what people are complaining about. They don't like that part of the ending, so they're just like, the game sucks. Yeah, that's how you get your way. Pout. Or just say a game is bad when it's not. It's an objectively good game.
Yeah.
But did you have anything else to add with that ending? Agree, disagree?
If I didn't mind the way they ended it. I wasn't aware that it was supposed to be his last game. I assumed he was going to be in another. I assumed they were going to keep it going after I heard that it was just the end of the Xehanort saga. So it's like, okay, cool. And then they showed the end of that, and I was like, I mean, are they in Japan? Where are they? And
yes.
Then you mentioned that someone said that it looks like the same world as The World Ends With You, which
there's a small detail to suggest that.
If they bring that back in, I would love it so much. That's a good game. Those characters are they're so good.
If they make this, someone theorized, I don't know where this theory comes from, but if they make this a point where, since we're done with the Darkseeker story arc, we're kind of done with the Disney aspects of Kingdom Hearts, and we're going to go full on. Now he's going to go through the Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest and other Square Enix worlds, because let's face it, like I said from my initial thought about the original Kingdom Hearts, we needed more Final Fantasy here. If now they're going to go full tilt into that, I'm interested.
I don't know if they're
I
gonna
want
go
to see where that
full
goes.
tilted because they still have Maleficent and Pete looking for the black box.
Oh, that's true.
So at the very least, they're still going to be in it.
Which that was annoying.
The whole time it's just, where's the black box?
Where's the black box, Maleficent? I don't know where it is. I think it might be over here in the Pirates of the Caribbean world. That was my Pete impersonation.
And I honestly, I had no idea what they were talking about.
Mickey Mouse's rival.
I don't know who that is.
The big cat guy.
Oh, yeah. Not that familiar with Mickey Mouse. Or anything that y'all been talking about.
We're not holding that against you. Well,
it's honestly, I envy you. You don't have to deal with this.
And we have been talking about this for over an hour, so we
I was
should
gonna
probably
say, it
wrap
feels
up.
like about an hour at
gosh.
least.
You have anything further to add in closing?
No, there's just too much to gush about.
That's true. So we both, for the most part, loved, in summation, we both loved the game. We had our issues here and there with it as far as pacing goes, what they did with some of the different worlds. Love the combat. It's one of the best Kingdom Hearts games there is, objectively, and I don't think anyone can be intellectually honest and say game sucks, unless you're not a Kingdom Hearts fan, in which case don't play it.